What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon is a card I put on penny stonks last month, and I underestimated this initially, but it did hit the market where I thought because Dual Overload has so much to offer in terms of estimated value pulled versus the price point of what it is. And we see it now towards $3.50 and quickly climbing towards $4 on the front page. This card is absurd in the fact that if you're playing Halifibrax, aka Needle Fiber, you're able to just go in through essentially a free Herald plus Borreload Savage Dragon. Now these other pieces are starting to sell out on market. Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion has me pulling my hair out because it has a guaranteed reprint on the front page of Battles of Legend. I feel like cards like this keep getting bought out despite us having no events to play in and continue to spike up in price, including Borreload Savage Dragon, which isn't confirmed for a reprint, but you can see the lowest English copy past all these OCG ones is 75 for an unlimited and over 80 for a first edition, continuing to go up here. The Megatons have confirmed to have Savage Strike, and Borreload Savage Dragon has to dodge both Battles of Legend, which reprinted Boral Sword Dragon last year, as well as the Megatons. I think you're better off spending that $70-80 on Megatons themselves, which YBM has a sale on, which you can use code What'sGood5 to go ahead and get those early. I think some of these buyouts just are in poor taste. These price hikes are people, yeah, I gotta get the card now. Where are you gonna go play Yu-Gi-Oh? What are you doing with these cards, and why would you not just wait on something like Mecha Phantom Beast O-Line? I don't personally understand, but here we are. Crazier things have happened within the past couple of months. Now, a card I would not be ignoring is Herald, which is played in this, and we see the original is going up somewhat quickly. I featured this recently because of the Dragma, but also this combo is being played, and this is making its way onto fields in the current meta, not just for some Yang Zing hype of making it and making it undestructible by battle. And we see the newer ones out of Battles of Legend, Heroes Revenge, are very, very cheap for what they are right now with quite a few quantities. So if we're talking penny stonks, something where your money is spent smartly, I'd be getting the ultra rare Herald of the Arc Lights, of course using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly. Now, let's stop selling out for just a second. I asked Think New just to send me in some stuff to show you guys because I was truly interested in their products and what they're doing, and boy is this one of the cutest plushes ever, and my dog has taken a very big liking to it. She doesn't like tear up toys or anything. She treats it like her baby. So this is the Blue Eyes Small Dragon, and I really like what they're making here. Usually high-end plushies, even small that are custom, go for 50 plus, but they're only charging 30. And they also gave me some stuff to give away to you guys. So if you made it this far in the video, like the video, be a subscriber, and you might win this set of enamel pins of the God cards, although the attack stats are wrong. They use the Blue Eyes ones. Sorry, keeping this one. And tell me what plush you would like to see this company make next. I may know a little bit of what they're thinking about, but let them know what you would like to see. And you can use code House of Champs to go ahead and get free shipping over here. I don't get supported by this, but maybe if enough of you use it, they can send me another plush so I can have my own and my dog can have theirs. I'll also link their social medias down below, their Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so that you can see updates and what they're doing. But again, free shipping with code House of Champs for you guys at $50 though. You have to spend 50, so it's a plush and maybe a couple of other things, or 2 plushes, one for yourself and somebody else. You do have to spend 50 to get that free shipping. They're from Canada, but that will apply to the USA. Breaker the Magical Warrior and other vintage values. You may have heard the term vintage values thrown around the market a lot, and I want to dig into that. I think that you can't have everything worth a ton. It was really hard, actually, in recent Yu-Gi-Oh history to get rid of your TP7 Breakers for a reasonable price because there's so many good versions of Breaker. You have the first edition original MFC, which is still revered, and Magician's Force is very high for its sealed product. You have the Dark Revelation 1 version, which just feels cursed. It just can't go past the $15 mark, and it's starting to head that way finally before you see it spike up, but people still willing to sell down for a DR1 version. Breaker has too many versions, and again, I stick to the not everything can be worth money. When I'm looking at investing slash also thinking about what I would rather collect sooner than later because it's going to be slurped by investors off the market, I look at stuff like tournament packs, retro packs, and First Ed original core sets from the old core sets, ultimate rares, and many different things. But you also have to take into consideration when buying things, are there higher rarity versions? What am I getting? Like, is First Ed original Uria worth it when you also have the ultimate rare, which is not going to sell at $500? Let me be very clear, that's not going to sell here. And I think the DR4 version is kind of doo-doo because First Ed original core set, even though DR4 is so revered, I don't like the ultras as investments necessarily versus DR4 super rares that have just been known to be good investments over time. But what do you guys think about stuff like this skyrocketing, and what do you think the actual sales rates would be at? I think a damaged one might actually sell at 150 to 200 at this point. People just aren't relisting them on the market. Now, this was a buyout I featured just on last Market Watch, but I want to make the point again. All the way I think to the Synchro era is now vintage, where Zexal has a ton of people come into the game in a new generation. I would be going Ghost Rare if possible. I would be saving up the money that it would cost to spend on Ultimate Rares, although I think this buyout was for money, and to try to make sales later. I would not be spending money on this version. I would just be saving that up towards the better versions. And I think the Ghost Rares are a really good opportunity to get cards that will go up over time. But between collectors and vendors, there's eventually going to be a place where only investors are going to spend that money, and collectors are going to become unwilling or unable to, and you're going to play vendor hot potato. I've talked about this before, but long story short, people who are investing will be the only people hawking these off on each other. The market will inflate on that and eventually crash back down to where it should be, where collectors start to spend some true money on these cards. It's happened in Magic. It has happened in Pokemon again, although their collectors market is hyper-inflating again right now during these times, as I predicted the Yu-Gi-Oh market would. And now there are a ton of stores and vendors that are becoming cash rich during these times because of all these card sales, and they're not able to get cards, so now they're looking at cards like these. And I just don't think if you're a collector, you should be considering as much the mid-rarity cards unless those are on your checklist, in which case, pay attention to the market even during these times, buy wisely, and don't overpay. I think heroes are a really good investment point. I do like, Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman. I think it is one of the better heroes because you have the fake upper deck, Flare Wingman and that kind of stuff in history. You have DR4 Ultras, again, not the biggest fan. Those recently bought out. But look at all the amazing versions you can actually get instead of just having to get that ultimate rare. There's so many different really cool things you can get when it comes to these cards, and it comes down to your choice. Do you save up for the max rarity? Do you go for a mid? What are you comfortable with? Again, sets I'd go for. Retro Pack, I think, is an amazing set that will only do better over time for what it is. I think that DR4, specifically out of all the Dark Revelation sets, is probably your best thing to go after if you are looking for long-term cards. I'm, again, not a big fan of the Ultra Rares. Like, think of the Curse of Cyber Dragon here. It was at $18 to $20, even $15 for the longest, and now finally is moving towards $45 despite all the hype Cyber Dragon has. Again, it just ends up being a mid-rarity for Cyber Dragon. So consider what you're going into versus the sets. First edition originals are great. Unlimited LOB is trash because you keep seeing these packs actually redistributed in new products from mystery power boxes that are ripping open the 2017 versions from the legendary collections to I don't know where all of these are coming from, but there's so many unlimited packs that are surfacing in Walmarts and other places that they've flooded the market even for the best of the cards, and you want to go first ed. And then tournament packs, that includes the new age tournament packs, like, Dark Law is a modern day collectible. The new Solemn Strikes, Solemn Warnings, those kind of things that are towards our metagame and not just towards the show, they are true collectibles now, even if they're not vintage. But I think when I'm looking at the older sets, looking at what I would be putting my money into that will end up having vendors play those battles versus each other, I would be going for these sooner than later. We're not at the point where Pokemon is with $5,000 cards here and there and everywhere, $1,000 cards everywhere, but a lot of these are starting to rise for the points with stuff like First Ed Original LOB and Metal Raiders and DDS Blue Eyes and other cards. So you do want to be paying attention if you are truly wanting to grow your collection. It's only going to get more expensive from here until that bubble does burst, and then we don't know how high it will climb to versus how far it will fall to then. But that is a way off in the future thing, something that's not even going to happen from the situation right now. This inflation right now, it's honestly something that the market was going to have happen to it someday, but not at the scaling that it's happening. Boral Sword Dragon First Ed Original is something I noticed that is back up towards $40, despite the $30 price point. Just to note, all the unlimbs sold out of the original. That's kind of eyebrow-raising and odd to me, considering there's 3 versions of Boral Sword, isn't there? Like, or is there just 2? Yeah, there's the original, there's the Battles of Legend, and there's the Megaton. Not making that up. So there's 3 versions, and it's weird to see the unlimbs, which would be like mid-high rarity, kind of, even though you have the Battles of Legend version. I just don't get buyouts like these. These are weird to me when people go after the unlimbs. Maybe it's natural quantities leaving versus people not wanting the Mega Pack version being ultra rare. And finally, Mech Knight of Morningstar is something I've noticed doing a slow creep up. We see it 830, and that's pretty much what it's at. But, you know, you could have gotten them for $2 forever ago, $5 very recently. This continues to go up, and it's with all the new World Legacy stuff, something I'm seeing played more and more on Dueling Book that never got its reprint. So just something to consider there and not put off. I hope it gets a reprint somewhere, but I just don't think this is anywhere on Konami's mind. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Again, check out Think New if you want the Blue Eye Small Dragon. You might not see this guy again. I think I'm realistically going to hand it over to my doggo and let her have it because she's really in love with it. So that's Roxy, not Bonnie. Don't worry, she's not eyeing Blue Eyes cards on the market. Thanks for watching, everybody.